They will snap it one more time, and that's going to be it. Middle Tennessee, the road warriors that they have been, they have done it again. The Blue Raiders are now undefeated, 3-0 against the Miami Hurricanes. They beat them in 1931, 1932, and it hits triple zeros, and the Blue Raiders have beat them again in 2022. Only 90 years between those victories. Wow.
It's always fun to do stuff that nobody thinks you can do. And coming down here, 26-point dogs, and kicking their butt like we did, because it was a butt kicking. There was no fluke to this. And just really proud of our team, the toughness that we played with. We were the tougher team here tonight. You know, to be able to just keep battling, we never flinched. We never flinched. And that's what I'm proud of our team about. Knock these suckers off.
And welcome back to College Football Weekly. Chip Walters with the call on Learfield Communication and the Blue Raiders Radio Network. Middle Tennessee State goes into Miami and shocks them with the victory. And as you heard Coach Rick Stockstill, they beat him up pretty good. I mean, this game was never really in much of a doubt. I mean, a few times Miami had the ball within a couple of scores, but it just seemed like Middle Tennessee State was up for the challenge that night for sure. I mean, we're thrilled right now to be joined by the head coach of Middle Tennessee State. And Coach, I know you had some big wins over the years. I mean, I remember your squad knocking off Missouri a couple of years back, but you know, this has to be one of the biggest wins that you've experienced as head coach there.
Yeah, you know, Brian, you're exactly right. Just the fact that Miami, you know, was ranked in the top 25. It's the first time we've ever beat a ranked team in the history of the school. Just the legacy, the history of Miami football and what it represents and all the great players they've had. And then a little bit of just my old playing days at Florida State. You know, that rivalry, being down there, just kind of comes back a little bit. So it was a tremendous win. You know, I'm just so happy for our players.
And Coach, I know you mentioned that, you know, being a Florida State alum, you're a quarterback there back in the late 70s, early 80s under Coach Bobby Bowden. I'm guessing you've heard from quite a few maybe old teammates or, you know, other supporters of the Seminoles for knocking off Miami?
Yeah, you know, I've gotten a lot of, you know, text messages and calls from my former teammates and friends there, but I've gotten so many emails, you know, and direct messages on Twitter from Florida State fans that, you know, I don't have a relationship with, just congratulating us on winning the game. And they said that during pregame warm-ups of the Florida State game Saturday, they were playing our game, you know, on the big screen there, and everybody was cheering for us and all that. So it's been kind of special from that standpoint.
And Coach, you know, I live in Jacksonville, Florida, so I'm certainly surrounded by Florida State fans. This is definitely, at least partially, Seminoles country here. And I didn't get a chance to see your game live at the time, and the main reason why I was in the way back from Clemson, Wake Forest, but I did get to listen to it on the radio, and I couldn't help during the sequence where you had the fourth down stop down by the goal line, followed by the 98-yard touchdown pass a couple plays later. It seemed like the type of thing that I would see in a game, you know, watching the old Seminoles with Coach Bobby Bowden. I'm just wondering, have you had a chance at all in these last couple of days to kind of reflect on that, or maybe just catch yourself smiling, thinking, you know, what would Coach think of, you know, not only the outcome of the game, but just a couple of those wild plays that you had?
Yeah, you know, and I don't know if you saw any pictures, you know, of me, but I wear on my hat, you know, I've got Bobby with, you know, that logo they did for him. I wore it last year, and I wear it every game, and I wear it every game until I retire. So, you know, I was talking to one of our other coaches, and, you know, after the game and said, I bet Coach Bowden was kind of smiling down on us and brought a smile to his face. So, I was at Clemson. I was coaching at Clemson when they did a play action pass against us and threw a 96 or 94 yard touchdown pass against us. So I'm sure Coach Bowden smiled when we did that.
No question about it. And Coach, I felt like, you had the spirit of Bobby Bowden with you, especially in the post game when you said this.
I told our team earlier in the week, I said, Ray Lewis and Michael Irvin and all them cats, they ain't coming out to smoke. This is pretty special. And to be a ranked team and beat them is pretty dadgum special. And
yes, you got the dadgum in there.
I say dadgum all the time because of him.
Yes. And so Coach, I'm real curious about one member of your coaching staff. He used to be your quarterback. And I interviewed him numerous times at the different media days and such. And I know he finished up in 2018, then went to Florida Atlantic to work under Coach Lane Kiffin at the time, and then on to South Florida under Jeff Scott. Last year, as your wide receiver coach, and then this year you gave him a little bit more responsibility as the passing game coordinator. And of course, I'm talking about your son, Brent Stockstill.
Yeah, I think he's got a phenomenal future ahead of him. I moved him to quarterback coach and passing game coordinator this year, and he's really done a great job with Chase. He's a great communicator. He understands the game, and he's and I hesitated talking about him when he played, because I didn't want people to think that, oh, you're just talking about him because he's your son. And I still find myself doing that now that he's coaching. But he's so far advanced from a knowledge standpoint, from a communication standpoint, for his age. I just think he's got a great future ahead of him. And like I said, he's done a great job, contributing to the game plan and how he's coached Chase and our quarterbacks.
Yeah, it certainly seems like the passing game is on point so far. And talk about your depth at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, we've got some really good players. We've got a couple guys that didn't play against Miami because they're hurt. So we didn't play a bunch of guys, but Jalen Lane is a really good player, a talented player. DJ Chisholm is a little guy, but he can fly. Elijah Metcalf is a little guy. He's a redshirt freshman, hadn't played a bunch, but has really good speed and ball skills. And, we made some big plays, and when you think about it, we only completed 16 balls, but we threw for 400 yards. And, that's hard to do. And, so we were so explosive, in the passing game, which is a credit to everybody involved.
I'm guessing you must be happy with the grit that this team has shown, from a tough opening loss, being able to turn the page that quickly and then, put together these quality games 3 in a row here. Has to be something that I think just about anybody would consider impressive.
Yeah, Brian, I talk about toughness so much, and I talked about it after the Miami game, the toughness that we played with. And toughness is not just physical. You got to be mentally tough as well. And, that first game didn't go our way. There's a lot of, negativity. And but you block out that noise, you come back and, you're honest with yourself. You correct your mistakes, and you grind and you work and you compete. And, that's what we've done here, the last 3 weeks. And, we've won, 5 of our last 6 games, going back to last year. And, so there's a lot of leadership, a lot of belief, a lot of toughness, in this program, on this team. And, we just, in that second half, the Miami game, you think you get a stop, and you think you get they're going in to score and you knock the ball out and you recover it. You think you got a turnover and plays go to review. They review it and it doesn't go our way. They overturn it. And, it would have been easy to sit there and say, woe is me, we're not getting a break. But, we were mentally tough enough to overcome it and not worry about it. And we didn't flinch. We didn't blink. And that goes just back to our grit, our toughness, our mental toughness, that we are. We're a blue-collar team, and we got a good edge about us, a good chip on our shoulder that, you go down there, you're 26-point underdogs, and let's prove people wrong. And there's no greater satisfaction, no greater feeling, than doing something people say you can't do.
Yeah, and I think at the end of last year, when this team needed a couple of big wins just to qualify for a bowl, they were able to come through. And then, next thing you know, you're going through customs at the Bahamas with a big old trophy. And, one of the guys that really made things happen then, and is certainly looked at for some of the senior all-star games, like the Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, games like that, and with a chance to possibly play at the next level, is Jordan Ferguson. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, I'm really proud of Ferg. He's got all the intangibles that a team at any level, college, NFL, looks for. He's got a tremendous work ethic. He's does everything right off the field. He's graduated. He's one of the hardest workers on the team. He's a captain. He's a great leader by example. So whatever locker room he goes into, he'll make that team better just because of that. And then he's a good player. He's a little bit of a tweener. Is he big enough to be a 3 technique? Is he long enough to be a defensive end? But he can play, and he can play at the NFL level, and I have no doubt he'll get a shot, and then they'll find the right place for him to play. And he'll make an NFL team because he's got everything they're looking for from an intangible standpoint, and then from a physical standpoint as a football player, he's got that also.
Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate your time. All the best moving forward here for you.
I appreciate you, my man, and holler at me anytime, okay?
Thank you, Coach. And that's head coach Rick Stockstill of the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders. They're now 3-2 on the season. They did drop their last one to UTSA on Friday night, but certainly a very viable path to a bowl game for them. They do have 3 tough ones in a row here against UAB, Western Kentucky, and then against Utah. I certainly expect to see them playing in a bowl somewhere. Let's wrap it up here next on College Football Weekly on SportsMap Radio.